one of the 5 principles we listed when creating SuperCreators was that we want to help raise global citizens. So I was thinking about what that means to me, and I wonder what that means to you.
That's a very good question, because I was actually thinking about it several times, and I was just thinking about the idea of global citizenship, and especially with the in contrast with local thinking. And I think that a lot of times, or in my mind, what I was thinking about is it might sound that you are not interested anymore about your environment and your local area, which I don't think that is true. I think that the better global citizen you are, the better local citizen you are. I think then none of that can be like applied without one another. I do believe that the world is, and it always was, like we were always very, as people, we were always very like excited and interested in learning about like different cultures and different types of solving issues, like different math and different language. And in general, like I just think that all of us are drawn to exploration, even though some of us might have like different, different preferred cultures or different not only experiences, possibilities to like explore different cultures. But I think that we do naturally have the tendency, even like when we talk about aliens and going exploring even further than just our Earth. And I think that there inside of us we do have this natural need to be like interested in others, let's say, just in general, like interested in others. And I think that we are in general like developing technologies and trying to connect each other, or give us the chance to at least be more connected if we want to. And I think it's very, very important now more than ever to be able to do so, because as I said before, I think it does not apply just to individual. I think it applies to nation and to us as humanity and society in general. Like if there is an issue that you are trying to solve here, let's say in Prague or in Czech Republic with the culture that we have, and the issue you somehow cannot solve that, like you're just still trying to solve some issue and you're just going round and round. Sometimes like the easiest way is just to look somewhere else and see another culture solve the same problem, and maybe some other culture have solved it like really quickly and they have the answer. And then maybe you can try, if you are open to it, you can try to replicate it or change it. And it really just, as I said, like I don't think that it just is applicable only to individuals. I think it is applicable to society. And I think that raising children who feel like global citizens, meaning who understand that we are like connected to each other, can really help promote like better experience with one another, and also like learning from other cultures, thing that maybe you wouldn't be given the opportunity to learn inside of your small culture. And also seeing the differences makes you appreciate your own culture as well much more. And like for me it comes very naturally, because I was like raising up in Angolan family with Angolan traditions in Czech culture, and I really understood very early that there are things that you learn that are not that you could not learn, that you could not do in the other culture. But it really enhances you, because then you can just choose whatever strategy works better for you. And it doesn't mean that you're not connected to one or another. Like I always get the question, like, who would you, if there was a match, like who would you be rooting for? Would you be rooting for Angolan team or for Czech team? And I would be like, I would be rooting for both. Maybe the one that would be, I would say the one that would be losing more, I would be like supporting them just because, they're losing more. But I would be rooting for both. So, and I do feel connected to both of the cultures, and it just gives me the ability to like just pick from that culture the thing, and then pick from that culture the thing, and then in the situation when I feel like, okay, I cannot solve that anymore. I can just go and try the different thing that the other culture is giving me as an option. And it's just natural. So I think it's just so great to have the opportunity to do so. And you don't have to be like raised in a different culture to do so. You can just be raised in the idea and understanding that there are more cultures, more people around the globe, and people have like different types of different experiences and different sets of abilities that can be your set as well if you learn about it. What would be your question? What would be your answer?
I was thinking why I think it's important is that the world is and feels much more interconnected than before, with the internet mostly. So, and also because of like how the economics work and everything, it's like one global village now almost. Like it's not really separate. So like when one nation or even one person on some small scale does something, it actually influences you. And we know that now. So even if somebody in Thailand throws out a Snickers wrapper or something, it's like doesn't actually influence me like measurably probably, but we now know that with I don't know climate change and stuff, it actually has some effect. So I think that's why it's more important now than ever to think about it this way and think about the network effects and the like complex systems thinking, how things interact, because we are actually one organism, or however you would call that. So I think we need global citizens, which would mean in this context, it would mean people who feel connected most of all. So you feel like you're part of it, not just, okay, I'm here is a line and there are others, which is natural to do that. If you're, struggling to survive, you will care mostly about your surroundings. That's natural. But with the prosperity we have, hopefully we will keep having, we can expand that. So I think that's the ideal, to be able to think, okay, I'm part of the globe, of everything. So my actions actually matter in like whatever I decide to do. I can have positive effect on others, but also negative effect. So it actually matters whether I throw it out or not, or recycle or whatever. And yeah, we are not the best examples, I think, of doing everything perfectly in this, but just awareness and some general sense of belonging to others, I think improves everything, like empathy towards each other. And yeah, it's just everything would work better. And there were some like concepts that struck out for me. It was like non-zero sum thinking. So it's like the idea of, don't ask how can I get the biggest piece of pie, but how can we make enough pies for everybody? That's, to me, that feels like a big part of that. So let's think, it's back to the idea of thinking like expansion, like abundance. Or it's more like, how can we solve this for everybody? Not just, how can I solve this for myself and then not care about anything else, which is not a long-term survival strategy anyway, because we are so connected. When there is a big problem somewhere, it's very hard to just split and be like, okay, it's not our problem.
I think just as you're speaking, I think the part that is the problem is that, not the problem, but I think the challenge there is that we are not wired to be like that, because I think that we still somehow operate, our lizard brain at the back of our minds is operating towards proximity. Like we defined our tribe by proximity. So, and I think that's one of the things that is challenging, and that's the reason why we need to be raised into global citizenship. I think that's why you need to have it why you need to learn how to do it, because I think that the world has changed, like the playground on which we are like meeting the other tribes and creating our tribe, where we are creating our tribe, which is the other thing that has changed. Like it used to be that you were given to a tribe, like you were born into a tribe and it was your tribe, and unless you, I don't know what would have happened, someone had to probably abduct you. It would probably be the reason why would you leave your tribe. But there was like very little reasons to leave the tribe that was like very close to you. So I think that's why, and now we are living in a playground where you have so many options and you have to learn how to like create the tribe. So you have to pick the people who will be your tribe. So I think that, and all of these like things that we have already like pre-built in ourselves, that's what makes it so, that's what makes it challenging. I don't think that's just the part of survival. I think that survival makes it harder because survival kicks in the lizard brain. But then even when you put aside like survival, I think that there is just this inbuilt function in us that just still defines like relationships and proximity as the thing. And I think that has changed, or the world has opened for us. So we don't have to define our relationships by proximity. And I don't mean by not taking care about the local place, because I think that it doesn't, if you understand, like as you explained it very well, like it's not about us versus them or like caring about this place, because it's just one globe and one piece. So even those who decide just to take care, or even those who decide to take care of the local place, it's still like pouring into the entire like globe. And you're helping all of the environment and all of the global citizens by taking care of your local place. So it's not one or the other, because it has to be like complementary. Otherwise it doesn't make any sense. But I think that the part that is challenging is that we are not raised, or we don't understand, or our predispositions, like human predispositions, do not let us, they do, unless we work on it. I think we will always feel like proximity is the part, proximity is what makes like relationships and what makes me connected to things. But I think it has changed, and I think that's something that we need to learn, and we have to like teach children how to do. Otherwise they will get lost. And I think that's like why social media doesn't work that well, why we have like we get lost. I don't think it's about the technology itself. I think that the wiring that we have in our brains, and if we just let it work on the lizard mode, then we will feel unhappy, because like our bodies are not prepared for it. Like if I have thousands of people who on display or on screen look familiar, like if I watch thousands of people on screen, then my brain thinks, oh, these people are my tribe, all of these people, because I can see them. All of these thousands of people, I can see them, so it feels like they're close to me, which means, and by close I don't mean relationally close, I feel proximity. I think we cannot distinguish between a person being in a room and a person being on a screen. I think that for our lizard brain it feels the same, but also at the same time we do understand they are not in the room, which is the part that creates frustration. If you understand, like if the person was in the room, we could be connected, but they are not in the room. So I am missing this part, but I do see the person, which my brain processes like the person is there, but also not. So I think it's like very challenging. And I think that's why you get lost in social media, but I don't think it's the social media itself. I think it's just our wiring and our understanding that is making it so hard. And then the other part is that we have to actually you have to pick the tribe. Like it cannot be when you have thousands of people speaking to you. We never had to do it. We never had to pick our tribe. I think this is the first time in history where we have the ability to choose who will be our tribe, which is the part that is being so messy, even with relationships and everything. It's like you get to pick the people who are going to influence you And that's the part that's not working, because we are not actually doing that. We just open the social media or YouTube or whatever
and get influenced.
And we are getting influenced, but we are not choosing the people. We are not like actively choosing, oh, okay, he's entering my circle and me watching this will influence me. But it makes sense. Like if nobody tells you, if nobody explains it to you, if nobody tells you this person is now becoming your tribe, and it's just one-sided relationship, like parasocial relationship in which they are influencing you, but you're not influencing them, if the connection is not like reciprocal, which can happen.
Yeah.
You can have pen friends, you can have friends in which you play games with, where it makes it like more peer-to-peer relation. But if you're just watching somebody doing something, then you will feel very close to them. They will not know about you, and it will feel like there is a gap or a deficit of emotional connection.
Yeah.
And then you're not just up on top of that, you're just not picking who you want to be influenced by.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I derailed from the global citizenship, but it was connected. It was connected with the topic, because I think that's why even being a global citizen needs to be thought, because it would, if you don't think about it, it would feel like, yeah, of course, like everybody should feel connected to Earth, like everybody cares, like in the most simplistic way, everybody cares about other people and wants like the humanity to thrive. So why would you even want to like teach children how to be global citizens?
Yeah, and I think it's at least to me it feels natural, and I wouldn't expect somebody who is solving their basic needs to care about these things, at least not like have it in their top priorities, because it just doesn't make sense. I think what you describe as like lizard brain and the basic needs, it's like if for me that became a problem, I will not think that much about throwing the Snickers wrapper somewhere, because it's just I have more pressing needs. And I think it's fine. We can handle it as a society, that some people need to figure this out first, and we can like help them. But it's more about the 10% or 20% or 30% of people who actually have the abundance to, take responsibility and feel the global, I don't know, that we are one, actually, like, I don't know how to describe that. It's more like a feeling that you can contribute, you can take responsibility for that, and you want to feel like connected with with others. Even if it's 5, 10, then 30, then 50%, it's good. Yeah. Let's move on. Do you have other question?
I have a question which will take us back to your childhood and your experiences in school. My question is, can you think about the critical moment when you felt that you would like to switch, or not like to switch, but you understood the difference between like just consumption and like actually being the person who creates or contributes? Can you think about like a critical moment in your life? It doesn't have to be the first one, it's just the one that comes up to your mind, where you understood or where you felt like, okay, like I don't have to be just sitting here watching or doing stuff, I can actually create. Was there any moment where you felt like it? Or was it natural?
It wasn't natural to me. What I'm thinking is that I now perceive it from like where I'm now. I don't remember specifically, vividly how I felt at that point. So I don't actually think there was a moment or some sharp switch where I was like, oh, I can create. At least I don't remember that. What comes to mind, closest to that, was when I was 11, 12. It was the Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game, where the part of the game was that one person needs to actually create the game for others based on the rules. So I was creating the adventure, drawing maps, writing the stories, acting out the characters, and others were playing, and I was more like the moderator of that, the facilitator of the experience, also the creator. And I remember enjoying so much the thinking and planning of, and then they could encounter this, and if they go there, and it's like world creation. So that was really nice. It was basically game design, creating a game for somebody based on a couple of rules and just pen and paper, some dice, maybe, that's it. I don't remember that I would feel like I'm a creator now. It was definitely empowering, but nobody narrated this for me and explained there is a difference. And so that was the earliest and the closest to actually creating something intentionally. It's more like a mistake. Part of the experience, which was we want to play this game and one of us has to be the creator. And I actually then realized I enjoyed the creating more than playing, because we switched sometimes and I didn't enjoy that much. So this was it for me. And I wish I had more exposure to taking this further. And actually, looking back now, I connect the dots that this led to a big extent to my interest in game design later. But I never actually went and did any game design at that point beside this. It's I thought, okay, I need to learn programming to do that. And I started looking into it a little bit, but it felt complicated, too big for me to start getting into it. So I was I need to go study in a school for this, which is partially correct, but I don't think not that much. If I had somebody who could teach me that, or had an internet at that point where I could go on YouTube and start finding tutorials and start learning, if my drive to actually learn that would be strong enough, I would make progress. But the school didn't do a great job at that. Keeping the fire up and focusing on what I want to do. It was more about what they think I should be doing. And in the first year, we didn't even touch programming, which is a huge fail for me. I completely lost interest in that because, we weren't even doing that.
You just, as you're saying it, just hold your thought. I think that it's one of the things that I think is extremely important to understand, sometimes I think that the layers of learning are now reversed. So you don't explain to children why they are learning it. So you're explaining to children the basics, and then on top of that, you put the part that they want to learn. So in your example, I'm sure that all of the things that you were learning in the first year were the ground basics to get you and better in programming. But the problem is that that's not how learning works. I think that learning works you get to, as you said, you want to do the thing, and then you understand that you're not able to do it unless you understand the thing that's one step closer or further, or the steps before. But you have to have the feeling first in order for you to be motivated to learn it. So it has to be first I tried to do the big thing or the thing that I want to achieve. Then I realized that I cannot do it. Then someone tells me, if you want to do that, you have to actually learn first this. And then my motivation will be completely different than if someone at the first time told me, learn, I don't know, computational thinking. It's just learn computational thinking in theory. I would never, I remember when I was learning programming, I went through the first year, as you said, the first year we did nothing. We didn't do any programming at all. Everything was just about the basics, which are crucially important. They're so important. And I did learn them, I just memorized them, then I forgot about them. And then I actually started programming. And when I started programming, it was oh, now it all makes sense. And I was very like, not, I was angry, I was very mad, because I was like, there was so much frustration that didn't need to be there if it was reversed. Because now I actually am motivated to learn it, because I got to the thing that I want to learn, and I understand that I have to learn these two other things that will make it much easier, faster, and better, and I want to do it. So I think, I think that's one of the most important things that are like, that have to be in place, is that we think that we have to do it like as a procedural learning. Like, you have to start from the basics in order to get the child, or anybody, but the person, the individual, to the point. But that's not it. Like, the person has to firstly go themselves to the frustration that they cannot do it, and then they will get curious to solve the frustration that they cannot do it, and they will be open to learning the things, not the other way around.
Yeah, I think the learning this way, and probably in general, works best when it's in dialogue.
Yeah.
So it's like, there is a problem or a curiosity, or just the drive, I really want to make a game. Maybe I have an idea for it, and I need somebody or something to like start. So somebody would probably ask me, like, what game do you want to make? I don't know. So somebody would maybe show me ways to how to think about it, how to come up with ideas, or ask me, do you want to make a video game? Maybe you want to make a board game. So some guidance is very useful. I think also a huge part, I don't think I felt like empowered enough or confident enough I could make a game. So just somebody being like, of course you can make a game.
Would be
like
nice.
People do it all the time. Is a huge part of it. I had nobody around me ever made a game. So it's like some mythical thing that people do, but not me. That's a big part. So it feels like I need the university degree of something to be able to make the game, which is a complete nonsense. You don't. So it's the like enabling part, just somebody showing you, telling you you can do it, and seeing others doing it, and then providing the guidance, the tools to do that, and then like just working in dialogue. And when I lost interest, it's also fine, I think. You get satisfied sometimes during the process and want to go maybe do something else and then come back to this. That's also not really possible in the traditional schooling. It's like, no, we have this curriculum and we have to do it in this sequence, and it's finished when I say so, not when you say so. So that's also annoying. So it's very forced in this way, which didn't work for me. I think for somebody and for some certain subjects, etc., it makes sense. I suspect for most people, it's not the best approach, and for most things, which maybe leads me to another question. So I was thinking, why do we depend on projects as the primary learning method in SuperCreators? Did you think about that? I did.
I think that's a very good question. I think that my answer would be that I think that's just so natural. Everything is a project in life. Everything is just a project. Like, whatever you decide to do feels like a project. And there are aspects of projects, and it gets me back to the point that I said earlier, is usually you are the one who chooses the project, or not always. Like, let's just push a little bit aside like the traditional job environment, which I understand why the schooling system works the way it works, because in traditional job you also get like the same.
I don't.
Well, it makes sense. Like, if you want to have people who exactly can take a project that wasn't their project, it wasn't their idea, to fulfill that in the way of someone else, then of course you have to like teach them the skills to be able to fulfill someone else's dreams and push your dreams aside, and all of the stuff that makes sense. But then there is this, again, like, your primal need and the basic way, and I think the very natural way to learn things is that you set in your mind a goal, and goal sounds very like ambitious and it sounds big, but it can be something as small as, I don't know, make a sandwich. Like it can be anything. It's just you think about something and then you want to make it real, which for me is a project. That's how I would define a project. And it's so natural to us. That's how we learn. Like you want to make, I don't know, you want to swim, you want to travel, you want to visit your friend. So you just think about how you do it. Like
how to get there.
How to get there, exactly. And like everything feels like, okay, I have an idea and I want to make it real. How do I make it? And then you take some steps and you have trials and trials, then in which you learn.
It presents a problem and you try to solve that.
Exactly. So I cannot imagine doing that in any other way. And I think that it's very important to have also like knowledge, like just like the passive knowledge. I don't think like applied knowledge, but the passive knowledge, I think it's very important. But for me, it always has to be like, first I have to have the project and then I will be curious about the information. Because if I don't have the project, then it feels, and I think that's most of the problem why children are disconnected from, like, they are not engaged in school, is because nobody like connects the part of what you are learning with the things that you would like to do, or just telling you how it's useful, just like explaining how it is useful. It helps so much. But I think you can do better, and you can make projects, and you can do, and I don't mean like projects, like boring projects, like drawing a bunny on a paper. I really mean like taking your deepest desires that you have inside of you as a child, which you have, because if you ask any child, is there something that you would like to do? You don't even have to ask, they will just tell you right away. Like, I would like to build this thing, and I would like to build a rocket that flies to the moon and back. And like, just imagine if you could just tell your child, whenever you feel like they're being in their like la la land, in their like imaginative land, okay, let's take whatever you have in your mind that you would like to see, and let's just make it real. Let's just bring the idea from your beautiful like imagination and make it real. And here are the tools that you can do. Here are the set of tools. Here are the people who can help you, and just do it. And that's the thing that I would like to see, and that's the thing why I think it's very important, like in SuperCreators, to have it in there. That's the core part.
Yeah, and I think the ownership part of the project is crucial, because I don't even think it's enough to explain to children why something is useful. I think it can work if you want to teach them something, to explain how it's useful and be a good entertainer. Sometimes they say the best teachers are like actors. So you can project the excitement about it, or not even project, you are actually excited about it, and that's very magnetic. Like you are drawn to people who are excited about things, because the emotion is so it's expansive, it draws you in. So that can definitely work, but I think at the end of the day, you enjoyed that, maybe learned something, but it's not, it didn't help you do your own thing, if that makes sense. So I think it can be beneficial, but I agree, and I think that projects that you really own the idea, the drive, is really like the main engine that helps you move on your own learning path in the best way, because it's really like goes from you, and it's not a pressure from the outside. It's not like we want to teach you something, but it's like you want to learn something, and we provide the tools, the materials, the information, anything you need. And of course, sometimes there can be like a friction point, because we actually want kids to learn something, maybe sometimes. either the system wants to learn them to learn that, or we know it's essential for them for what they want to create. So maybe then that's the place where what you're saying with the explain them why it's useful to their project comes in. Yeah. Okay. One idea. When I was thinking about it, I agree that like projects to me also represent like as life works. So like when you can think and learn to think in, okay, what's the project here? What do I want to do? And then learn to structure the steps, think about it, you know what matters to you. So like you need to know your values, how you want the world to be more like or less like, and like contribute to that. Goes back to the global citizen idea also. Then everything is projects this way. So that makes sense to me. And also I was thinking that comes back to me often, this idea of open problems and closed problems. And like to me, projects are the representation of the open problems, which means problems that don't have one correct solution, but many, it's like open-ended problems, maybe a better way to say it, where it's more about what do you want to do? Like what do you want to express? What do you want to change? And not a problem, a closed problem in this context would be like, what's 2 + 2? Like there's one answer actually. And what I don't like about it feels to me that most of the schooling experience is closed problems, even though most of your life is about open problems. So it's like, what do you want to do for a living? There's no one answer. But we then try to approach that and solve it as if there was one answer. And we get frustrated because like we try what we thought was the thing, and then it's not, and then we're lost. Because it's like, either I suck because I cannot do it, or it's like I'm lost now. And where do I find the answer? There is no the answer. It's like there is just the process. And I think that what's important about when you learn to work on projects, it's all about the process. And you learn the process and practice the process. But in school, in the closed problems, we focus on the result, like the outcome, and just getting there as efficiently as possible. And to me, there is a big difference. And I can feel the struggle even in myself still, that I'm sometimes realize I'm looking for the right answer or like the correct answer, like if there was one answer, but there's not. So to me, projects represent the importance of learning to think about open-ended problems and solving them, which is different than solving closed problems.
This is so spot on, and I totally agree with you. I completely agree with you that, and even I think about it even nowadays, because I think that it gets me back to like the global citizenship and how like our brain works and how we need to like retrain ourselves. Because I think that even today, like since the world is getting like faster and we are more connected and there is like more, I call it like more noise. Like there is much more noise, which means that there is more, I would say, different voices telling you or presenting themselves as the solutions to close-ended problems. So there is like much more input that comes in that is still like wired and is still communicating things as if life or as if any question was an open or closed-ended problem. So it doesn't matter if it's finances or if it's relationships or if it's like anything. Like it can be like, do you want to get rich? Invest in and enter whatever you want to. Like, do you want to have a good career? Start working. Do you want to have a good relationship? Pick this person. And I think as we are like more connected, which is a great thing, then there's the other side that you get so many, it gets me back to like you get so many influences on you and so many opinions and so many like, and the opinions are formed in the, I would say, old way of thinking, as you said, like the closed-ended questions, which is not real and it was never real, but it was easier to construct in a society that was closed. And if we say like all of us in this small space will be thinking like this, and all of us will be doing the same, then life can feel for a very small, short time as if it was a close-ended question. Like if you don't pick your partner and your parents tell you who to marry, then you don't have to choose. Like it's a closed-ended question. It's not an open-ended question. It's not like walk around and see who is the best partner for you. You don't have to figure out it yourself. It will be figured out for you. So it's like quite very easy to answer that. But it doesn't work like this anymore. And I think it's even more important for you to be able to do the things that you said, like, what are my values? What are the things that I want to do? And like keeping away the noise, because it will be coming in, it's as if you had your own project, and then throughout the way you're trying to build the project, there are so many like noises and waves and opinions trying to like sway you from one to another side. And you just have to be able to like say, okay, this is noise. This is not what I want to, because this is my project and I want to work on it and I want to experience it. And if I do it wrong, whatever wrong means, or if I don't succeed at it, or if I encounter any struggles, it has to be my struggle, because I am the one who is living it and who wants to like learn it. And if I invite people to join my project or help me with my project, then it's the people that I picked to do so. And then it's my responsibility. It's on me. I picked the people. And I picked them for whatever reasons, but it's my choice.
Yeah.